Hello dear friends and welcome to Atibirk Real Estate YouTube channel, the YouTube channel of a real estate company on the Mediterranean coast of Turkey. We sell and also rent out properties in the cities of Antalya, Alanya and Mersin. And of course, we can turn your real estate dreams into reality. But today we want to talk about one new specific law that had passed recently in Turkey in regards to short-term rental. Actually, in our previous video about the new law about the residence permit, some of you have already commented that there is a new law in regards to short-term rent, and that is true. And today we want to explain the new rules to you since they have been published officially in the official government newspaper, and we will tell you about them in our own words. Let me mention right away that even as a company with over 15 years experience on the Turkish real estate market, we have a lot of questions in regards to these policies. And some of these questions will only be able to answer after implementing the new rules and seeing how it actually works in practice. An apartment for short-term rental from now on, from the 1st of January 2024, has to be licensed. Yes, it has to have a license for short-term rent. In order for your apartment to get a license, the building in which you plan to rent out your apartment needs to have a short-term rental license. And the procedure goes as follows. First, the complex needs to collect the consent from all the owners of the apartments in this complex and then submit an application to get a license for short-term rental. Then, when the complex gets the license, you can apply for a license for your apartment and start renting it out short-term legally. All applications for the licenses will be done through the e-government system. In Turkey, it's called e-Devlet. And if you live here, if you have a residence permit, if you have a property, it's very easy to get your e-government system application on your phone. Plus, the management company of your building will also take care of that and will apply for the basic license for the complex. But one pretty much impossible rule is that in all the urban complexes, so complexes that don't have hotel-like infrastructure, and by the way, there need to be certain things for a complex to qualify for a hotel-like infrastructure complex, but I'm going to talk about that later. If it's an urban complex without the hotel-like infrastructure, you need to get 100% consent from all the owners in the building. So let's say you have a building that has, for example, 30 or 40 apartments. You will need to get the consent from all 40 owners of those apartments in order to get a license for that building. And if you don't have the consent of all of them, you don't get the license and you cannot rent out your property short term. What happens if you can't get the consent and you can't get a license to rent out your property short term? Then you can only legally rent out your apartment for over 101 days. Yes, after 101 days, it's considered long-term rent and you can do it like that. For complexes that have hotel-like infrastructure, there is no need to get 100% consent from all the owners in the complex. However, in the building plan, in the complex's plan, in Turkish, it's called yönetim plan, it must be stated that this complex is suitable for short-term rental. And since in Alanya, we never had that before, right now, so in existing complexes, even with hotel-like infrastructure, obviously there is no clause in the complex plan that it's suitable for short-term rent. Thus, it will have to be changed, and for that it will first of all require some time to be made, and well, it will have to be changed. This clause will have to be included in order for owners of the apartments in those complexes to be able to rent out their properties legally short term. The process of changing the charter of the complex is also unclear because, for example, in Alanya or Antalya, No one has ever done this before. And also for that, the complex will need the agreement, the consent of 80% of its owners, the owners of apartments. Then there is another pickle because the management companies of the complexes still are unsure and unclear about how they will get all these consents from the owners. Do the owners have to be there physically present? Or they can have a notarized power of attorney? Or alternatively, they can just give someone the right to vote for them? That is also unclear at this moment, and we will have to see how it will be made in practice. If notarized power of attorney is suitable, then this will of course make the procedure easier. So owners who are not physically present in Turkey can easily do that. For example, even do it for our company, and we can vote for them, do all the documentation, and take care of it. The decision to rent short term will be made at the meeting of all the residents or all the owners in the complex and will be certified by a notary, then sent to the cadastral department to get the license approved. If the owner of the apartments has more than one apartment in one complex, he can apply for all of them at once. If a management company or a travel company will rent out your property instead of you, then you must leave a notarized power of attorney for them to rent your property out. You cannot rent out part of your apartment, for example, a room or some rooms or the basement or something like that, or one floor of your apartment. You can only fully rent out the property. If the apartment has received the license, the inspection will come within the 30 days to inspect the apartment for its suitability for short-term rental. In case something is not right, they might need you to change some things, or alternatively, your right to short-term rent can be revoked or you can be fined. On the license plate itself, which will be displayed next to your apartment, this license plate will state the name of you or the company you're renting with. It will also state the address of your apartment or complex which your apartment is located in, and how many people can stay in the apartment legally. You will also have your own license number for short-term rental, and when you will advertise your apartment for rent, or the company that you're renting with will advertise your apartment for rent, they will need to include the license number in the advertisement. Also, not all companies will be able to rent out your property for you. For that, a company needs to have a touristic license of category A, which by the way our company has, so we will have no problems in that regard. There are also some things that are required for an apartment to be suitable for short-term rental, and there is an actual list of things that need to be in the apartment for it to be suitable. But in most of the apartments that we rent out short-term, most of the things are there already, except for some points, and I'll tell you about them now. They are a fire extinguisher, a fire sensor inside the apartment. On the front door, there needs to be the plan of the apartment inside the building, also the emergency exits and how to get to them in case there is an evacuation or an emergency. There also has to be some kind of set of rules of how to live in the apartment, the rules of check-in and check-out, and also a cleaning and disinfection card. So in some complexes, it is already possible to rent your property out if you wish to do that. It will be a little bit easier if you choose to buy a property at construction stage, because what we anticipate is that now all the developers that have projects at construction stages, they will put the short-term rental into the complex charter from the beginning. So in all the brand new complexes, of which the construction will finish soon, all the residents will have their agreement on the short-term rental and there won't be any problems. And the complex will get a short-term rental license straight away after the end of construction. For the old complexes that are already constructed, it will be a little bit more difficult. We anticipate that in complexes with hotel-like infrastructure, it will probably be easier, but in urban houses where there's not that much infrastructure, where locals live, it might be very, very difficult, and complexes like that, houses like that, might not be suitable for short-term rent. In that case, if that becomes true, then there will be more properties on the secondary real estate market, because many people will choose to sell their property instead of renting it out illegally. For our company, for example, we take full care of our clients' properties. It's part of our after-sales service. So if you choose to buy a property with us, then we take care of managing your property for you. In that case, like I've mentioned before, you would leave a power of attorney to us. We will get the license for your apartment. We will legally rent it out because we already have the necessary touristic license, type A, which is called Tursub here in Turkey, and we can legally rent out properties. Also, apartments that will receive a license will have a great advantage because, well, as we anticipate, there will be less legal options for short-term rental in the future. Well, this is a way for the government to regulate the legality of short-term rentals, the tax paying, and everything like that. Of course, if your apartment is not suitable, you don't have to sell it. You can always come stay there, or alternatively, you can rent it out long-term. And I'll remind you that long-term rent is now considered from 101 days and more. So anything less than 100 days is short-term rental, and after 100 days is long-term rental. This new law has gone into effect on the 1st January 2024, and right now already it is illegal to rent your property short-term without a suitable license. Of course, it will take time, even for our company it will take time to sort out all our apartments and prepare them for short-term rental. And yes, even in our case, we will have some options that will not be suitable, will be only suitable for long-term rent. Nonetheless, we hope for the best, and most of our clients have apartments in complexes which will get the license because they were originally sold as complexes for renting out, and most of the owners in them rent out their property short term. If you have any more questions, you can always ask us in the comment section down below. We'll try to answer as well as we can based on the information that we know at the moment. And of course, if you want to purchase an apartment to rent it out, you can always contact us by this number below. Our managers will provide the apartments, the options that will be perfect for this in complexes that will be in high demand. And thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful and found out more information about real estate market here in Turkey. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!